Okay, so I'm making this video in response to a comment that I made on X about that green councillor woman who got done for dog abuse. Now, the original post was made by a group called Exposing the Greens or something, who I support. I was one of the early followers, because I believe in anyone that is going to put their time and attention into exposing politician grifters, virtue signallers, holier than thous, whether that's from the Greens or the Tories or Labour. I think that they're doing a great job. So they put this post up, and I made a response, and I said, I think there's a bit more to this story, because her defence was, she said something about that she couldn't afford to take the dog and get it put down, and that struck a nerve with me. So I made a response back and said, back in the day, you could actually just pick your dog up in an emergency, take it to a sort of an emergency vet, and whether you had money or not, your dog could get seen, and it was a lifesaver. I know from personal experience. I had a dog once and I had to do that many years ago. Didn't have a penny to rub together. I'll tell the story if you want about it, but it was an absolute lifesaver. So I make this comment. I got fucking piled on by all these people. Calling me all these names, well, I'm not even going to say the names, but my God, it was like I'm a dog hater or something like that. I am not, okay? Number one, I love animals, and I think that people that abuse animals deliberately cruel and abuse animals, a fine or whatever is not enough. You should send them to jail. Same as these people. I'm in a park right now with my little Jazzy, and I don't care if they if they're dropping poison in fucking parks, then that's attempted murder, and you should go to fucking jail for the same amount of time as if you're trying to murder a fucking human being. Genuine animal cruelty, it's jail fucking time, okay? So that's number one, all right? Get that straight. But there was something more to this story, and something caught my eye about it, especially the bit about the fucking dog was 15. So what, the woman had the dog for 15 years, and then 2 weeks before it died suddenly decided to torture it and starve it to death. It doesn't make sense. Regardless, it's not even the point. The point is, she said on that, her defence was, whether it's true or not for her, her defence was she couldn't afford to take it to the vet, and she couldn't afford to travel there. It was a few hours away or whatever it was. And there is a point there. If you believe that people shouldn't have pets unless they've got fucking 10 grand in the bank and they can afford to look after them and pay these extortionate fucking vet fees, because they are fucking extortionate. Let's not mess about here. The vet business has gone mental. So what, if you can't afford it, you can't have a dog. That's poor people out of owning pets. Pensioners, older people, poor people, they can't have fucking pets because they can't afford the fucking vet bills. Say it. If that's what you think, say it. What, how are you going to enforce it? Well, get a license. Everyone needs a license for a pet. Guess who agrees with that? The fucking Greens. The fucking Greens agree with that. I think there's a clash of ideas coming there. Anyway, that's why I'm making this video. And I'm making it in the park, and my poor little fucking dog is getting bored. So I'm going to stop it here, and I'm going to carry on when I get home. All right, so I'll see you in a minute. Let's go, bring it back. Good girl, oh, good girl, go there. Is that your strategy? Yeah, you line your back. Hey, lazy bones, come on. You can't sit there, come on. I know. Come on. Hey, come on. Let's go. Let's go. Good girl. Good girl. Take it with you. So I just got back from the park. And yeah, it's just a joy. An absolute joy to have little Jazzy. It's a joy. Anyway, as I was saying, I did have an experience that makes me believe very firmly in some kind of ER, free at the point of use centre for pets. I think that the charities or the government can afford it. Just a centre, every major town, every major city has a free at the point of use emergency, like an ER, but for dogs and cats. And I tell you what, that used to be the case, by the way. Many years ago, when I came out the army, I was, a little bit fucked in the head, and I ended up squatting. I was homeless, so I ended up squatting, and I cracked a squat one day. There was a little terrace house at the end terrace, and inside found a little dog, a little scraggy, filthy, emaciated, skinny bundle. It had legs like that and a body about that big, a crazy little thing. It was like Tigger. Anyway, found this, so I adopted it, and it was about 2 weeks later. Just heard this yelp, this dog pain sound. Went outside. It was in the garden. Went outside. Dog's like lying there, licking itself like mad, and there's blood pouring out of its side. It had gashed itself on a 6-inch kind of nail that was sticking out in this yard. So picked it up. I can see some of it like it was yesterday. I wrapped it in a towel, tried to stem the blood, wrapped him in a blanket, and jumped on a tube from Finsbury Park down to down to Victoria. And there was a clinic down there. I think it was a PDSA. Anyway, you walk in, and there's like 20 other pet owners in there. It was mad, chaotic. But walk up to the reception, sit down, waited 4 or 5 hours, something like that. A very long time in that environment, but eventually you get up, see the vet. Vet was brilliant. I think I can't remember this bit, I wasn't watching. I think they shaved they stitched him up anyway, give him an injection, and put one of those huge like combs around his head, and kind of wrapped him up again and took him home. Saved his life. He would, sure, he would have died of infection or whatever. It saved his life. So that's why I believe in that thing. So that was my point when I made that reply. And my God, when the pylons came, Jesus. And I still stick to that point anyway. And I'm kind of glad I got piled on in a way, because it opens up the conversation, right? Who should be allowed to keep a dog then? Yeah? What? Do you need some criteria? Do we need a license? Yeah, and you've got to have 10 grand in the bank, and you've got to have, like this income and that income, and don't say, oh, you've got to afford like 25 quid pet insurance. Fuck the pet industry. If you think that's a fucking option, and if you think there's a charity like it was back then, where I could pick up a dog, my dog broke its leg or something, I could pick him up and take him somewhere, and they'd see him free at the point of use, then I think, show me where that is possible, because I don't believe it is, and I think it should be. Anyway, that's me explaining myself. That's why I made that comment. I do still support that idea of calling out politicians, but I thought there was a better and wider point to be made about that particular case. And you know what? It's not going to be the last time that I get piled on, because I don't get behind a mob. I'm not going to stay silent. Like if I think you've done something wrong, just because we're part of the same group. I've got it in my head, and I've had it for 20 years. Separate behaviour from identity. Call out bad behaviour. Don't label someone as whatever, bad, mean, whatever. Call out the behaviour, not the person. Call out the policy, not the party. You know, if we all started focusing on the behaviour instead of getting behind, well, I'm going to just stay quiet because that's one of my mob that said that. No, call out the behaviour. You know, that's how we move forward, I think. And so, good on this group. Call out these, virtue signalling politicians, the hypocrites. Fully agree with it. But at the same time, I'm going to call out what I think. And my next video is actually going to be what I normally do, which is not this talking head. Outraged. I write poems, songs, metaphors, visualizations, things like that, and creative way of expressing myself. So my next video is actually a poem song about the disgraceful and terrifying, the terrifying fact of the sexual assault and knife crime that's going on in our country at the moment. Terrifying. And the government's abysmal response of saying, yeah, what are you talking about? You're just far right if you talk about this. No, I'm calling it out, and it's called She's Alright. And I'm going to get a pile on from a whole load of different people. I've got a pile on from this side. I'm going to get a pile on from, a totally different group for the next thing that I put out. And that will always be the case. I will always upset a wide range of people because I'm going to call out behaviour, not stay silent just because I'm part of this group or that. Anyway, so if you wanna give a pile on later, give me a follow or whatever you do. What is it on X? Is it subscribe or whatever? Or give me a follow, and you'll get your chance. And oh yeah, last thing. Anybody thinking about making some smart ass comment about teeth, and that's a whole other can of worms. Dentistry for poor people in this country. Happy to have that conversation, in good faith. So, get in touch. Thanks for watching.